are Elizabeta and Isabella Vidovich with Almost Normal Productions, and we're very excited to chat with you today. So thank you for being here with us, Claire.
Oh, thanks very much for asking me. Very exciting to do something like this. Haven't done it before, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, she's a writer-director. We first discovered her by watching her short film,
Downpour.
Downpour.
Yeah, we definitely, and I loved it. We loved it.
Oh,
Actually, you know, we just have such an appreciation for filmmakers who are able to tell such a potent, powerful story in less than 5 minutes. It was just beautifully shot, and just very curious what the inspiration behind it was.
Well, thanks so much for highlighting it on your page. That was really lovely to see, and thanks for the kind words. Yeah, Downpour was actually, it was funded by Screen Ireland, which is a government body in Ireland that promotes film, and they have various different kind of strands of funding available every year, and particularly for short film. I suppose they're trying to encourage people into the industry, and at one stage they had a strand called Short Shorts, and it was to make a film. They had it every year, and it was to make a film under 5 minutes, 5 minutes or under, and they would theme the shorts. So they would actually say, we want shorts about whatever, this theme, you know, food, love, whatever. And the year I decided to apply for it, the theme was Ireland, I Love You. So I was like, God, how am I going to do a film like that? But they were sort of like, you know, so films about Ireland, about love, whatever way you want to interpret that theme. So I was just thinking about it and thought, well, what do I not love about Ireland? And maybe the weather is something that a lot of Irish people give out about and talk endlessly about. So I just thought about, well, what if you know, instead of hating the bad weather, what if you could find a way to love it? And that's kind of where that was the beginning, the jump off point.
That's creative.
Well, that was definitely a way to love it. It was such a wonderful way to tie that in. We highlighted for the Valentine's Day too, and
yeah, I saw that.
Really lovely. Yeah, lovely, and it looked stunning. It was beautifully shot.
Yeah, it was shot by a cinematographer called Piers McGrail here, who's now doing really great stuff. Because that was made about, like, how long ago was that? It was probably over 10 years ago. And he's gone on like to some wonderful work. So I was really lucky at the time. He was only a young cinematographer, so it was great to, you know, to get him at that stage. And I really like that kind of almost. I work a lot with handheld. I have a background in documentary as well, and I just feel I love to. That's my favorite way to work with actors, really, when they're allowed a little bit more freedom, and we sort of do a little bit, camera can do a little bit of following their performance, and he was just so wonderful with that. Like, he was able to find lovely frames even, you know, when he was following them handheld. So yeah, that was where that came from. Yeah,
and acting was wonderful too. I thought actors were superb.
Yeah,
it's important for all that to fall into place when you have a 5 minutes to tell a story.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time casting for it, just to find the right, because they had to have chemistry, obviously, because you were following this couple. Yeah, you know, over the relationship to the day before they get married. So we took a long time to find the right people, but we were really lucky that we did. So that was good.
Yeah, you certainly did.
Well, wonderful job. What do you find the most, like, on that note, what do you find the most challenging about just being a filmmaker overall? I know it's kind of a broad question, but what would you say?
Wow, I think there's probably been different challenges at different stages of my career. I think one of the most difficult things I find now is maybe balancing family life and my career, because about 10 years ago I made a documentary called Broken Song, and it was funded by the Arts Council here in Ireland, and it was kind of I suppose it was kind of like a non-narrative, almost like experimental documentary in a way, but it did really well here and in Europe, and it was kind of I just had my first child though, so when it was coming out, there was another bad choice of words. There was also a child coming out, but I care, and I was like running into the toilets to, you know, breastfeed him, and you know, it was so. And I kind of at the time, you know, I got a lot of attention after that, and I had a lot of producers contacting me, and there was a lot of like, what do you want to do next? What do you want to do next? And I was like, okay, actually what I want to do next is spend time with my baby, you know. And I felt like I shouldn't be saying that. I felt like I shouldn't be feeling that. And I even remember another producer saying to me, "Oh well, so and so's just had a baby, and as in his wife's had a baby, and he's straight back into it." And I was like, "Yeah, but he didn't have the baby," you know. And I just kind of I feel like I should be kind of going gung ho for this and getting all the childcare I need and blah blah blah. But I just, in my heart and soul, I knew that my brain just wasn't going to be. I wasn't going to be there creatively for any production, you know. And I think I still struggle with that. So I'm only kind of now sort of getting back into, you know, I took a step back for a long time, and I think now I'm only kind of starting to get things rolling again. But there is that draw all the time to family and kind of feeling guilty constantly. And I know that's we're all sick of hearing that, but you know, that for me is the most important or difficult thing, is just the, you know, how you feel pulled in two different, how I feel pulled in two different directions. And I think that's probably a reason. There's a big, I probably the same in the States, but here there's a big push for more female directors. It's happening everywhere, you know. But I do, is that a bit of an elephant in the room that, you know, I know obviously there's dads who look after their children, and not every woman is a mother either, you know. But I think that is definitely, it has to be an issue. I mean, across various industries and things, you know, it's kind of something that maybe is just there, and you know, people don't always want to talk about it, but that for me is a big
yeah, well, especially like I think in industries like entertainment, where, you know, your work is round the clock.
Yeah,
it's not, it doesn't end really. It's like it's not a 9 to 5. It's not something where you can ask for hours off or days off. It's like, if you want to take time off, you're just kind of like, okay, I'm just not going to work. I'm not going to do a project. And people in this industry just kind of gasp at that, even though it shouldn't be the case.
Well, it's like, you know, you get a project and you work, depending, it could be anywhere from, you know, a week to 3 months to a year. You know, depends how big of a project it is. And it's like you almost have to go to your child, I need to not be a mom for, you know, 3 months to a year to however, because that's the time you have to carve out of your life to, you know, to do the project. And it's hard to juggle that. And Catherine, our third almost normal lady, our third badass, is we were doing this before even Isabella hopped on board, and we juggled a lot. We, at the time, had small kids and babies, and were pregnant. We actually fundraising pregnant, and it was just something. And often we'll just sit around and have a glass of wine and go, how the hell did we do it? It's crazy.
The kids are fine. They like, especially smaller children, don't, you know, you don't have to be with them around the clock, you know. But I just think there's this biological thing. It's just, you feel guilt. You just want to be there. You don't want to miss stuff. And I think even if like, because I was really lucky with Sunlight, the feature I just made, that the producer was extremely aware of that issue for me, and we took kind of a slowly approach to the pre-production, even into the development, and it was all very, very, you know, parent friendly. But even when you're not, like, your head is in the project, so even like when you're at home with them, you're thinking about the project. So I think there's even that element. So when you take on a project, it's like, well, if I'm gonna do well, I have to give this everything, you know. So even when you're not physically there, you're still there. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really, I guess it's really ultimately just kind of not having that guilt, not, you know, if it's, because you can't really give your all to a project if you've got something in the back of your head telling you that you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's hard to say no, but at the end of the day, like, if you know that you're not going to be able to commit to something all the way, that's probably the better route.
Probably better saying no. Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we as women in general have that decision to make. It's like, how do we want to parent our children? Yeah. And I don't think there's right or wrong. It's just some women just want to be present 100%. And
yeah, you know, absolutely.
And that's totally fine. I mean, I made a choice to try and juggle both, and that had challenges of its own. And sometimes I look at my kids and go, oh, I can see like where I wasn't there at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at my kids and go, ooh, like, I understand, like, I wasn't present and I missed X, Y, and Z. So, you know, and then if you completely dedicate yourself to just being a mother, then there is that feeling of,
well, wow, what happens when they grow up, you know? And I think, like, it's, and you're right, it's not Like, there's not one right way. It's whatever you feel inside. So whether you choose to work full time and get childcare is absolutely 100% fine, and the opposite the same. So it's very much comes from you yourself. So yeah, and I don't know the answer to it. I really don't.
No, I don't think there is one. I think it's what works for you best, and you kind of have to roll with that. But yeah, we really understand those challenges.
Yeah, well, not so much me as a mother yet, but but I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what advice would you give to a first-time filmmaker, somebody who's never picked up a camera?
Wow. There's so much you'd have to say to someone who's never picked up a camera. Maybe get a piece to pick up a camera. I'll give you. I was actually just talking to a friend of mine who came to the premiere of Sunlight there for the weekend, and we were just talking about, because she went to college with me, and we were just sort of, she was like, "Are you happy about it?" I was like, "Yeah, I am, but I also see every single thing that I want to do differently now," which is terrible. But and I was just saying, the one big thing I learned after this film was, I think, and I would say this to anyone starting out, is just have confidence in telling your own story and in your vision, and not to, like, if you really feel strongly about something and there's people who are way more experienced than you going, I don't know if you should do it like that, or are you sure you don't want to do this, or like, obviously, yes, listen to the advice and everything, but if you really strongly feel something, I think you need to always say it, because the worst thing is knowing in your gut, oh, that's not right, and not saying anything and then living with it for the rest of your life whenever you see it on a screen.
Yeah.
So I would say always voice, maybe consider it and don't blurt out everything, but like, just if something's really niggling and you just really feel strongly, don't be afraid to say, look, and you can say it nicely, you can say it diplomatically and kindly, but no matter what it is, and I think it's a big part of me, it's like, I don't want to hurt people's feelings, and I think that's just how I was brought up, and I think that's a big thing, again, with women working the industry. I think as females, we're always taught to be kind of respectful, and you have to be, that's just in society, like, we're there, we please, we're people pleasers. I think naturally that's how we're brought up, and I think you can't be like that as a director. Like, you have to have a vision. People want you to lead them, and you can be extremely kind and caring and nurturing, but at the same time, you have to be, when you see something that's not working, you have to speak. So I think that's a big thing I would say to anybody. Not being a bastard about it, but you can say it kindly, but say it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's this misconception that being firm and assertive as a woman means that you're being rude or icy, or like whatever nicknames.
Balshy is the awful one, oh, she's so balshy, or,
right.
Like, you never call a man balshy, but it's just being bandied around for women. But but you can be very kind, you can be very diplomatic, you can say, look, I love what you're doing, la, 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 but could we just try something else? I mean, there are ways to do it, but I think it just takes, for me, that was a big learning curve to get to that point, and to say to someone way higher up than me, or more respected or more experienced, that I wanted them to do something differently. That was just a big learning curve for me.
No, I think it's really important to have that confidence in, like, your vision and in your creativity, and just because ultimately, especially, like, you're a director writer, so like that adds a whole other,
I'm kind of not so much writing now. Actually, I've kind of started directing other people's work now, since we were in 2017, sort of moving into that. But yeah, I know what you mean, though. When you're writing it as well, it's even harder, because
it just adds another layer to it, because it's like, well, this is quite literally my story, and then now I'm directing my vision. But I imagine being a director on somebody else's project, it's probably a bit more of a collaborative experience, because you're sharing a vision.
Yeah, I mean, and just to add to what you're saying, I think some of the best directors I've seen in my lifetime watch them work were the ones who knew exactly what they wanted, and they weren't afraid to communicate that with their crew and their actors, and I think that's what we have to remember as women too. Is that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what you have to do is your job, and when you show up and you feel very strongly about something, I think it's perfectly fine to communicate that to anybody.
Absolutely.
And even fight for it if we really feel strongly about what we want to communicate. So I really feel like that when that's when it's approached that way, people respond to it.
Yeah, I think so.
Do.
Yeah,
in a very positive way. At least that was my experience, seeing some really powerful people work in that matter, women and men, achieving what they want.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, people want to be directed. They want you to have a vision, and they want you to know what you want. So, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So, do you have a favorite genre?
I don't actually, and I think that's a really interesting thing that's happening in the industry now. Is that it's so genre driven. I don't know how you now you guys make. Do you make horror? Is that I was looking at your work? You seem to make, or do you make lots of different?
We honestly make everything. Our films have one through line, which is we make stories about women to channel their inner badass. So every one of our stories is about a woman going through various situations or solving various problems in their lives. So that just kind of goes to all genres. We have drama and comedy and dramedy and
speaking of genres, we don't have a favorite either. But so our last one was a horror. That's what you saw.
Yeah, that trailer looks amazing. I don't have a favorite. I just love good story. I mean, and I just think, it's funny how I don't think Irish film was particularly driven by genre but recently it's like a really big thing now, like that everyone just wants genre films, and I'm just kind of worried about films that don't fall into a very defined genre and what happens to those stories. I think it's kind of an interesting time. Is it that audiences only want genre, or I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I mean, my favorite directors would be people like Andrea Arnold and Lynn Ramsey, and I really like Alexander Payne as well. And but then like I love science fiction films. I suppose horror is the only one that I've not really got a huge love for. But I'll watch anything, to be honest with you. That has a good story, good performances.
Absolutely.
I don't really care what genre it is.
Totally. Well, so tell us then about your latest film that we've mentioned a few times now, Sunlight. It just premiered at the Dublin International Film Festival, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was on Saturday night. I'm still recovering. It was great. It's really good fun. And hopefully, it'll have a general release in Ireland and the UK in the next few months. And I don't really know what the plan is after that. It's kind of I was only just emailing the distributor there to say, what is our plan? But it was funded again through Screen Ireland. It was a micro budget film. And they were looking for, it was a scheme called POV, and they were looking to promote more female writers and directors. So it was really great that they did that, and I don't think I would have got the film made otherwise. It's a story about friendship, really. It's about an ex-addict called Leon, and it's set in Dublin, and he cares for his best friend Ivor, who has MND, motor neuron disease, and who wants to self-euthanize, and he basically wants to try and convince him not to. And it's so funny because after Alva the Kilgan, the writer of this film, she wrote it back in 2019 or something, and since then, every second film that comes out is about the same subject. So we've been like, oh wow, there's so many films about that topic now, so I don't really know where to go. It's kind of interesting when that happens, but so it remains to be seen. But everyone in it is very happy with the result, and so hopefully we'll have a trailer soon to be able to kind of put out there and talk about the release and that.
Well, we can't wait to check it out.
That sounds great. I don't know, I haven't seen a film with that.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
But I haven't seen a film with that exact subject yet. So not recently.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of a complex.
I do like friendship films though a lot.
Yeah,
it's kind of is that most recent? The one with Colin Farrell.
The Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of friendship films, I like
fantastic.
I like all kinds of movies like that. So that sounds really interesting. I'm excited to check it out when it's
great. When it's really I'll send you on a link to a trailer whenever I have
it. Yeah, please do. That would be awesome. So, thank you so much for chatting with us today and for telling people about yourself, about filmmaking. just sort of about like the different challenges and upsides.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you on again, maybe after we see sunlight.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, and mainly upsides. I hope I wasn't too downer about it, like, man, this and that, complaining. No, obviously, I love it. That's why I do it. But sure,
of course.
Any excuse for a good rant about something.
No, I mean, there's so much to love about that's why we do these lives, is because there's so much to celebrate and enjoy, you know, and love about art and filmmaking. And it's just nice meeting other female filmmakers, because, you know, there's there is a lot of us, but we seem to find each other. We're like a tight-knit group. So.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and we love hearing stories how other female filmmakers are making movies and what their challenges are, and, you know, how they got to where they're at in their lives right now. And, you know, we're absolutely fascinated by it, because we've been at it for so long too.
And it is really good to support each other. And I think I was only having a conversation with my producer the other day about how, like, you know, sometimes there's a view of like you're in competition with other people, but I think it's better to think of it like that. You know, if another film from the Irish industry does well, that's good for everybody, and we should all be supporting each other. And I think it's much better for everyone when there's a support network, rather than feeling like you're all trying to grab this little bit of food.
Absolutely.
I think Americans are better at that, at that sort of feed. I think, I don't know, maybe it's just an Irish thing, but something. But so it's much better to have that attitude, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the more you support others, and like you said, the more that you spread like good content by women, the more people see that there is good content by women.
Absolutely.
Because I hear that all the time. I hear people saying, well, there's just not a lot of female directors. There's not a lot. And I'm like, yes, there are.
Yeah, God.
It's just,
so many. Look around.
Yeah. So that's kind of a part of this general mission of ours, is to just show people, hey, there's tons of content out there. Check it out.
Good work.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you again for being here today.
No problem. Bye. Bye.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.